The Danny Lakey Late Show. The following content is of an adult nature, and it may make some listeners blush, say, oh my God, or even cause offence. Feel free to turn the radio down in 3, 2, 1.
Let's talk about sex with Dr. Nikki Goldstein.
Dr. Nikki Goldstein.
I was getting a filthy look then.
From who?
From you, Danny Lakey.
Oh.
What kind of? It could have been sex eyes. I don't know. It could have been
was it
sex
like-
eyes or dirty look.
Have I done lazy? Have I done? Because
It's like squinty. I'm like, I'm in trouble tonight.
no, I don't think I was. I think I was in autopilot then for about 10 seconds. How worrying that me in autopilot looks like a filthy look.
Looks like sex eyes.
That or sex eyes. I was like, stop cracking on to me.
Sorry,
It's a
Dr.
working
Nikki.
relationship.
Look, we are having the phone lines open on 131060 if you've got a relationship question or a sex question for Dr. Nikki Goldstein. She didn't go to uni for 5 years to become a sexologist and go on the radio for nothing now.
Exactly.
Selena in Adelaide, you've called up. Hello.
Hi, I've just got a question and I need some help. I need some tips on how to get my husband comfortable with my vibrator.
Oh, I love these questions. All right, I don't know why it is. Guys are so intimidated by vibrators. And there was this great study that actually explored that women don't prefer vibrators to their partners because vibrators can't hug them and they can't touch them and they can't, there's no body weight on you and all those kind of things. So I think the first thing is what vibrator you're trying to get him used to, because if it's this big phallic-like object and it's intimidating to him in terms of size, then that's a problem. So is it like a little small external stimulator, or is it something that gets inserted?
He
and
should
looks like
not
a
be
penis?
intimidated by a little vibrating rabbit sort of setup. The big bulbous veiny looking cock-shaped things that don't even vibrate, that's what I'm
Anything
scared of.
Anything that's big and phallic, right?
Yeah.
Anything, it doesn't even have to have the veins, right? Anything that's just big and phallic, because when it comes to size with guys, it's more of a locker room syndrome. So they're comparing themselves to something. The problem is that if you're not having regular orgasms with your partner and you're needing a vibrator, which is actually very normal because 80% of women have clitoral orgasms. So men can sometimes feel a little bit insecure because it's like, I can't be the one to deliver an orgasm. She's got to have this product. So the key is to actually incorporate it into something that he's doing, because a lot of women can kind of push their partners aside and be like, I can do this. I can finish
Fine on
myself
my
off.
own.
Being able to get something that sits in the palm of his hand and being able to say to him, you know what, it's just something a little extra I like, but you're in charge. And giving a little of that ego back. You're in charge of this. It's something that fits in the palm of your hand, and I want you to use it on me. So they still feel like it's them delivering the pleasure.
Yeah, the problem I don't think is within the vibrations and the murmurs and the small tremors. It's the
Small
size
tremors.
thing. Nah, because through
Exactly.
a lifetime of porn, we're built to sort of understand that, well, if you've got 8 inches, it's an instant pleasure giver. You've just got to hit the back wall on the full, and she's home and hosed.
Ow. Ow.
Oh, that's not
It's
good.
not hitting a back wall,
Interesting.
Danny.
Okay. Yeah, but the vibrating side of things, you should just whisper in his ear, Selena. She go, you know what? The only reason I've got the vibrator is because of the small palpitations, and I love it when you tremble inside me because that's as close to the vibrator as we can get. Your size, perfect. But
That's
if we
such a lovely
could just
voice.
get a little battery-operated
Such
ring
a
around
lovely-
the corner.
They're
on me.
not battery anymore. They all plug like mobile phones.
Jesus Christ.
And then you can get
So
the
now we have
couples product.
wireless ones.
Yeah, you
Plug
have
them
the
on
wireless
phone.
ones, and then you get the couples ones that you can actually have inserted whilst you have sex, so you don't technically really see it, and it's like a hands-free thing. So
God.
that's a great solution as well.
The old ghost
Selena, we need to
vibrator.
talk. Just call me after.
Yeah,
you up.
I'll give you my number. as
Yeah,
well,
I'll hook you
Selena.
up.
131060 if you've got a question for Dr. Nikki Goldstein. You can give us a bell right now on 131060, waiting to take your calls. This is Thandy Phoenix with Say It. Literally, Thandy.
The Danny Lakey Late Show. The following content is of an adult nature, and it may make some listeners blush, say, oh my God, or even cause offence. Feel free to turn the radio down in 3, 2, 1.
Let's talk about sex with Dr. Nikki Goldstein.
Dr. Nikki Goldstein is here. She's answering your relationship and sex questions. Of course, I'm here as well if you need a second expert opinion.
We
Dr.
always
Nikki
need a
Goldstein.
backup.
Louise in Newcastle, hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good, thank you. What's your question to Dr. Nikki Goldstein?
My husband and I have great sex,
but we can't do doggy. It's too painful for me.
Okay.
Why would that be?
Now, before you go
Danny's
right down
go-
the garden hole,
yep.
Dr. Nikki Goldstein. Painful in the genitals or painful on the knees?
In the stomach, like the inside.
Okay, when it comes to women having sex, I think there's something that we underestimate is that when we are penetrated, there is a lot of other things that are going on. And you imagine there's all these muscles in there. So for a lot of women, during penetration, you can be stimulating in a not very nice way twisted muscles. They're being poked and they're being prodded. So it's not always comfortable, and some positions will be more uncomfortable for some people than others because we're all designed differently internally. We'll all have a different shaped vaginal canal. We'll have a cervix that it's a different level to someone else. So if you find that doggy style is uncomfortable for you, don't do it. Or what you need to do is then start modifying it a bit. So different levels of, I can't remember the name of like that you do in yoga where it's like a cat stretch.
Downward dog?
No, not
Child's
down dog.
pose?
You're like on fours, but you're not necessarily
Doggy style.
presented out. So think
Let's
of
go
pulling your
cat.
back, cat
Cat,
stretch,
cat.
cat
Yeah, there
stretch,
we go,
you know.
cat.
Or it might be different angles, or it might be laying down more with your body on the bed and only just slightly raising your behind. That's where you and your partner need to modify these positions and find something that doesn't feel uncomfortable. But try and remember when you get that position, because that's the hardest thing is people are moving
Yeah.
around and, you know, you've got to go, okay, yes, this is the one that actually feels good. Let's just take note of where our bodies are at and try that one again.
Yeah, have a small notepad by Louise and just record how you feel with each position. Cause
Or
it
just
sound-
record the whole thing and then watch it back.
There you go. It sounds like the classic cervix stuck between the gallbladder and uterus situation.
It could be a whole lot of things,
Right.
but unless we go internally in there.
Over here.
That's what it sounds like to me.
It's a real shame.
Chris in Canberra, what's your question to Dr. Nikki Goldstein?
Me and my girlfriend, we're having troubles. She's not enjoying the sex we're having, and I believe it's because of my pubic hairs. I grow them out. I do some styling.
Okay, what kind of
Yeah.
styling are we actually talking about? Can you give us a little bit of more graphic detail here?
And if you could get off the walkie-talkie in a helicopter and on a mobile phone instead, that'd be great.
In a wind tunnel.
What kind of styling do you do?
Well, one month I'll probably go like a mohawk design, or I'll grow it out like I don't know if you've seen it. Zohan, the movie, big old bush.
Yeah, you don't mess with the
Okay.
Zohan.
Can
Yeah, the
I
old
ask
scrappy
you
cocoa
why-
setup.
Can I ask you why you do
I
these
think
styles?
it's funny. I
Okay.
think it's funny, and I think sex should be funny.
Yeah, sex should be funny, but the thing is, if you have a partner who's saying to you, I'm not attracted to that. We're not talking about something that's a body image issue here. She's not saying, oh, you're a little bit soft around the edges. I'm not attracted to it. Something like styling pubic hair is not just your natural level of self, right? We're modifying that. So if you want your partner to be into you just as much as you're into her, then on some level, I think you need to listen to that. And maybe there's a compromise. Ask her if there's a fun style that she can think of that she's still attracted to. Maybe it's her initials shaved into the base.
It's always a sign of a classic gentleman who will sacrifice his own pubic styling for the lady's pleasure.
But there's also a compromise, right? I'm sure you can come up with something that she thinks is good as well.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
don't
Well,
ignore the fact she's saying she's not into this.
Yeah. Well, at the start of the relationship, she was digging it. She loved it. She was there, and she'd love it.
Well, if
And,
any-
I think
Yeah.
it's getting a bit
Listen,
old
And,
now,
with
so-
and now
women-
she doesn't, so don't do
Women
it anymore.
change their minds, right? Like, it's the one thing. Men are a little bit more linear. Women kind of change their minds sexually. So try and go with the flow and please her so she'll please you.
Yeah, I'm just imagining this small
The mohawk.
looking
You want
tube
photos,
like
don't you?
things. Yeah,
I'll
maybe a
mention that,
Nike symbol etched into his ball sack. Just
Mr. T.
heinous.
Mr. T. Maybe some beads. Thread some beads in there.
Dr. Nikki Goldstein, thank you very much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
The Danny Lakey Late Show.